For most of the 20th century, Slovenia, Croatia, and Bosnia-Herzegovina were known as Yugoslavia. But their rich heritage is much, much older. In the last century, with the adversity and violence of 2 world wars, these countries were forced to become one. Today, these nations strive to redefine their identity and independence.
I didn't expect that there would be such a variety of settings. We've gone from the Mediterranean, which in my experience looked like the area of southern Italy, and we've gone now into the Alps.
What history will you witness in the colorful lands of the former Yugoslavia? Dubrovnik, Europe's best preserved late medieval walled city, and the pearl of the Adriatic on the Dalmatian coast. The system of walls was a model fortification in the Middle Ages, never breached by a hostile army. They run almost 1¼ miles around the city. On the landward side, they are 20 feet thick, and on the seaward side, 5 to 16 feet.
Dubrovnik is probably one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen. Something you hear about forever, and you just feel lucky to be there.
It's been an important Mediterranean seaport since the 13th century, rivaling that of Venice, Italy. Ships carried trade from much of Europe to the Middle East. Bled Castle is said to be the oldest castle in Slovenia. The castle's first appearance in the historical record was over 1,000 years ago. Perched 426 feet above the glacial Lake Bled, the castle terraces offer the finest view of Mljet Island, the town of Bled, and the wider countryside of the Gorenjska region.
That's the Tito's right
Tito's,
over there.
yeah.
And that's the most wealthy
villa,
man
yeah.
on the lake,
white
and that
one there,
white
yeah.
building there, yeah. It's beautiful.
And there is a huge surprise when they come to Lake Bled, especially in a day like this.
The village of Kropa is the cradle of Slovene iron forging. Traces of its metalworks go as far back as Celtic times. The Iron Forging Museum in Kropa demonstrates centuries-old ironworking and an insight into former daily life in the Kropa area. Slovenia, Croatia, and Bosnia-Herzegovina are at the nexus of Central and Southern Europe with the Mediterranean Sea.
You are back in Europe. You are back in Venetian times. You're back in Italian times.
A meeting place of many cultures, with threads that tie to much of the rest of the world, including perhaps your own.